Welcome to the Aegance Offscript podcast, where we talk to industry leaders who share their stories, insights, and lessons, unfiltered and unscripted. I'm your host, Lawrence, and today we're joined by Martins Okonkwo, the co-founder and executive director at Yivera Co. Yivera is building something ambitious, a platform that distributes, licenses, publishes, and handles accounting for independent artists, especially in Africa, but with a global reach. Martins, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Really looking forward to this one.
Thank you, Lawrence. It's good to be here.
So I've positioned Yivera to a certain degree. I'm sure you can provide us with a little bit more context around what it is that you do and what are your areas of operations.
Yeah, well, thank you, Lawrence, for the opportunity to share what we do at Yivera with you. Just like you said, Yivera is a digital distribution, licensing, and publishing platform. We also handle accounting, and for artists. And what we have basically done is to just build a business suite for independent artists, specifically focused in Africa. When we started, our focus was Africa. So basically what we're trying to do is to work with independent artists, independent labels, to create a business suite that would help them have the resources and the tools that big labels would have, but because they are a small, operation, they might not have those tools. So we build it and then give it to them so that they can use it to be able to run an effective music business, operation, basically. So that's what we have done with Yivera. We started, in Lagos, Nigeria. But currently we are servicing, countries in Africa, in Asia, even in Europe. So we have, clients across different countries of the world, specifically in the global south, in Asia and in Africa and in the Middle East, which is where I am. Yeah. So this is what Yivera is doing at the moment here.
And when you look at the current music ecosystem for independent artists in Africa, what is the future that you see, and what role do you want Yivera to play in shaping that future?
Wow, it's beautiful what is happening right now. Our music is becoming the tastes of the nations of the world. Afrobeats in the past 4 or 5 years, 3 years, Afrobeat has become a toast of many countries. Afrobeat has taken mainstream in the global music space to the point that all the major labels are now, trooping down to Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, to just, grab as much as they can from the big Afrobeat pie. That's how I call it, So the future is great. That's basically what I'm saying. And I'm looking forward to more because there's so much talent in Africa. There's so much talent, so much ingenuity happening. And with the innovation of technology right now, again, let me just quickly quote, there's something that Bill Gates said some years ago. He said that content is king. And when he said that, there was really not a lot going on in the content space. But right now, you can agree with me that content is king. You need music on social media. You need music in the AI platforms that are being built. You need music in the virtual reality platforms that are being built. So as long as there is media, there's always going to be music. And as long as there's music, there's going to be licensing and publishing of music. So the future is beautiful for African content creators, or content creators, basically music makers around the world. The future is lovely, if I would say so myself. So, and we're looking forward to all that is going to happen as this goes on, because as technology improves, and increases, so also with the application of music in all the spaces.
And in terms of Yivera and the beautiful future that you foresee, what part do you see the company playing in shaping that future?
Yeah, so what we are doing right now is that we are positioning ourselves to be at the nerve, of everything that is going to be happening, specifically in Africa. I always say Africa because part of our goal at Yivera is to build the digital infrastructure that would be needed to power Africa's music, or the global South music. So, like I was when we were preparing for this interview, I was telling you that when we started Yivera, we noticed that every other person who was building a digital distribution or digital supply chain infrastructure was coming from outside the continent. So they are from the US and all the other places. So because of that, they don't understand the nitty-gritty of our sound, our genre. I remember I was having a conversation with a guy that was building a data platform, a big data platform for music. And he told me, oh, our platform can identify every music from every part of the world, and it can identify the sound, the genre, and the different musical instruments in that music. So I said, okay, let's try some African music. I gave him some African music. By the time, and this guy, they are based in Canada, this company is based in Canada. I gave him some African music, and by the time he scanned the music, it was obvious that their platform has a lot to learn from how to identify African music and identify the metadata, the genre that is in there. So the thing is that at Yivera, we want to be able to build a system that will be able to power our music to the world. That supply chain that will be able to deliver African music to the world in our own way, in our own format, and be able to also collect the necessary revenues, because it's not only about pushing the music out, it's also about collecting every revenue that needs to be collected everywhere in the world, and be able to also funnel that back to the producers, the music makers, the labels, everybody that is part of that supply chain. Just be able to just do that is where we are trying to position ourselves to make sure that we create that vision, create that capacity for our artists to be able to reap from their hard work.
And how do you measure progress towards that vision? Are there specific metrics that matter the most to you?
Yes, generally in the music space, you judge your growth based on the how big your catalog is, your music catalog. So basically, if you're looking at your catalog, you're also looking at the interaction, the traffic on the music or the catalog also. So what kind of listeners do you have? Where are they coming from? Because if you have music catalog and it's only Africans that are interacting with the music, then you have not really done your job well, because the whole idea about music is for it to be global, for you to be able to reach the world with your sound, with your sound, with your culture. For example, most of us, hip hop came from America into Africa, and it became a thing. We all started wearing baggy jeans and wearing hoodies and wearing basketball t-shirts, because the music comes with the culture, right? Same thing also as Afrobeats, and of course again the food also. So music is culture. It affects every other thing. As the music of a people come into a new system, it comes with every other thing. It comes with the lifestyle, the culture, the food, and it powers a lot of things. So same thing is happening from this way backwards. So the the metrics that we use to judge is, catalog, the interaction, with your music. How many people are listening to your catalog? From where in the world are they listening to it? When you do concerts, do they show up? What are the tickets, sales looking like for that artist? So these are the metrics we use to judge and say, okay, we are doing well in this part, or we are not doing well in this part.
And if we have a look at strategy, can you tell us about a strategic change at Yivera that surprised you? Something that you didn't expect to work, but it did?
Oh wow, yeah, I can definitely share that with you. So when we started Yivera, we were small. We knew we were small, and there were bigger players in the market, right? There were bigger players in the market that were way bigger than us, of course, with funding and investment money from wherever they were, you know. But what we did was, because we've been in the business, we understood that, number one, that it made more sense to make the artists who are the owners of the content or the label feel that you are a partner with them on that journey to becoming a global sensation. So instead of us charging them upfront, oh, pay us to distribute your music, which is what everybody does, we decided to do what? Give us your music for free. We're going to, distribute the music for free, and we will share revenue. Now, what that did is that it made the artist and the labels feel that we're not just coming to just take money from them. We want to work with them in making their music a success. So, and that really, really was a key strategy that really worked in our favor. So, what we noticed is that we were having a lot of signups. People were, coming to sign up with our platform just because we said, look, we're releasing your music free. We're not charging you anything, but this is a cut that we're going to take from whatever you make. So that's one thing that we did. The second thing that we did, I'll just give you two. I will leave the rest for the team. The second thing that we did is to take advantage of the fact that the global south, specifically Western Africa, generally in the global south, there's always one monetary policy that would exclude them from being able to transact internationally. So what I'm saying is those days, you can own a PayPal account, but you can't receive money if you are somewhere in the global south. If you are maybe somewhere in Africa, so maybe let me give an example. In Nigeria, in Ghana, those days, not too long ago, this was just, I think it's still happening up till now. You can't receive money, but you can pay. So what that means is if you're selling your music, you can be paid by someone who is, let's say, in the UK or in Europe. Yeah, if you distribute your music, you can't receive your royalties. You have to route the money through some other way to be able to get to you, right? So, but what we did is to look for a solution that would make it easy for the creators to be able to receive what is due them. So we first of all we implemented we looked for a partner that would be able to guarantee that our users, our clients, our artists would be able to receive their royalties as at when due without necessarily paying taxes that they don't have to pay because they are not resident in some of the countries that they are receiving their royalties from. So they don't have a reason to pay taxes in those places. They can pay in their home country where they are resident and they are doing business. So these are the two strategies we implemented. Just being able to make life easier for the creators. By doing that, we're able to have a lot more people want to work with us.
And in terms of that monetary policy shift, the change that you've made there, what outcomes have you seen because of it? I'm sure you've got a bunch of really happy artists, but beyond that, what have the shifts been?
So what has happened also in the past few years is that there has been a lot of locally developed payment platforms, payment gateways that had arisen. It became a necessity because Africa has a lot to sell to the world, but they can't sell it because the traditional payment system has excluded them from being able to sell to the world. So, but what that also did is it inspired a lot of local fintech companies, financial technology companies who came up to fill that gap, right? But what it also did is because when the fintech started becoming successful, it now started forcing the companies that are outside the global south or Africa to begin to rethink what their policy was. And instead of them, so they have their reasons. They have their reasons, for blocking off places in Africa where you can. They have their reasons. It could be to mitigate against fraud and things like that. But what that also did is that you excluded the legitimate businesses who are operating. So it's like throwing away the baby and the bathwater, just because, yeah. So, but what that also did is inspired local engineers, technologists to be able to start looking for solutions, right? And then also we have crypto that also came in and literally changed the monetary landscape for lots of people, lots of businesses. So we have crypto, we have fintechs. These are tools that have come in to also make it a lot easier. So we've seen, even though some of the traditional companies, traditional financial companies still maintain that embargo or ban, but you also see the new generation financial companies, fintech companies like Wise and the rest of them wanting to open up their market, but put uh, uh, tools in place to mitigate against fraud and money laundering and the rest of them.
And if we
Yeah.
look internally, Martins, at Yivera as a company, what internal systems or processes have been crucial to scaling reliably while staying transparent and fair?
Okay, so internally, what we have done, it's been a long journey for us, uh, learning and unlearning, things really. Again, because the music business is a guarded space, very very guarded. Um, like I told you, up until now, most of the companies that are in the music business are huge multinational companies, like the major labels like Universal, Sony, and then they now have, you know, platforms like TuneCore and 1RPM that, also come to now play in the downstream sector of the music business. So for someone like us who are nobodies in quotes to be able to come in and start playing big took a lot of learning and unlearning. And what we have done is to learn and then implement strategies, policies across our operations, across our quality control, across our financing, data analytics. You know, we do lots of, for example, we do lots of checks. If someone signs up on our platform, especially when it's time to, if someone signs on our platform, and they want to release music, we have what we have a whole quality control system that we put in place to be able to check to make sure that the person that is releasing the music is the owner of the music. Because what we have seen also in the industry is someone can pick up some other person's music and come and try to distribute it. So what we have done is to put lots of checks, systems in place to make sure that the person who is uploading the music is the rightful rights holder of that music. And how we do that is we are connected with a central database of music around the world where we can check a sound to make sure that no one has released this song before now. So if someone uploads the music on our platform, we do a scan. It's a content ID scan. So that scan will tell us that if this music has been released by someone else anywhere at any time, we're going to know. So once we know that, then the next one we'll be asking is this person that is trying to upload this music, do they have the right? Have they either gotten right from the original rights holder to release this music? If they have something like that, they need to show us some form of evidence to say I've gotten the right to release this music or to sample this music. Now, if they don't have that, automatically that music is rejected, and then we kindly tell the person, sorry, we can't publish your music because this music is infringing on the copyright of somebody else. So we have different, tools like that, different uh, strategies that we put in place to guard the different aspects of our operations to make sure that we are, abiding by the necessary standards, globally.
And if we stick on the topic of internal systems or processes within Yovera, what are some of the biggest pain points that you're still seeing?
There are quite a couple of them. Well, you will still see people trying to release, fraudulent music. You will still see it. In fact, yesterday I was looking at our dashboard, and somebody tried like 6 times to, uploaded like 6 songs that are obviously, copyrighted music. And I also see that the quality control person rejected all 6 of them, you know, all 6 rejected. Why? Because it has to be done. So you still see people trying to do that. You see people trying to do that, trying to sabotage some other person's work. So it's a pain point. And because it's the internet, you can notice that someone is trying to do that, and maybe after like 2 or 3 infringements, you block the person's account to say that, look, we don't want you here because you're trying to sabotage some other person's work. But maybe tomorrow you see them come up again with a new account, and so you just see that happening, basically spamming the system. But thankfully, we've put a robust system in place to always, identify those people who are trying to game the system and just deal with it. So that is a pain point. There are several other pain points that are still there, that some I can't think about right now, but that's one that consistently see. We still have issues with trying to make payments to artists, who are in certain countries. There are certain countries that you can't send money to the artist directly into their bank account because sometimes it's an internal banking limitation. Some countries have some policies, their banking system have some policies they've put in place to whatever the reason is. Sometimes we don't know, but you see that some, artists or creators who are living in certain specific countries, maybe because the country is going through some sort of global ban. It could be maybe a country that is going through war, and then you notice that the creators in there, they can't receive money because maybe there's a ban on them or something. So you still see some of those things happening, but we always find a way around it, or we tell the client, sorry, we can't help you now. But we'll keep whatever is yours. We'll keep it for you. When the situation changes, we can always remit what belongs to you.
And how does Yivera win the trust of independent artists in such a crowded distribution space?
Well, how we win the trust of independent artists, again, it's just transparency. The music business can be very complex because there are different revenues that is being collected from different places, and it's not like there's not like a generalized amount. For example, let me give you a good example. So let's say you release your music on Spotify. What Spotify pays if your music is streamed from the US is not what it pays if your music is streamed from Ghana, for several reasons. So what we try to do is when we present the data to the artist, we are as transparent as possible to say, this is what you earned from your music in this country, this is what you earned from your music in this country. And of course, this is the total that you earn. So basically transparency. And how we have done that is to use an infographic feature on our platform where we display to the artist on their dashboard the countries that their music is being engaged from, the platforms that their music is being engaged from. We also display each of the tracks, which is doing better, which is doing less. So we basically give them a picture, in one shot of the information they need to be able to know that we're being very transparent with them. On top of that, we still make available to them the spreadsheet of each report also, so that if they want to audit, they can easily audit, and in our contract, we also allow them to request to audit our own accounts to make sure that things are straightforward. So these are some of the tools we put in place to just make sure that we are very transparent with them. And because of that, we see them coming back. Another thing we have done is to make it easy for any artist or user who has a complaint to reach us. Because one of the things we noticed with the other huge platforms is everything has to go through an email, and it's when the email and most times it is difficult for them to respond to you for whatever reason. But what we have done is to make sure that we put systems, and we have multiple avenues through which you can reach us. And we guarantee you that in 24 hours, somebody will respond to you. That is, we implemented a WhatsApp communication system where people can reach us on WhatsApp. We implemented an emailing system. We have a support ticket also. So each of those avenues make people feel that, oh, I can reach these people and then they can respond to me. And of course, our social media is very active. We make sure that someone is responding to you when you make a request. So I think these two things and several others have really improved the perception of our users around our platform, and that has helped us to have them always coming back because they know they can reach us and we can have a conversation with them about whatever their issues are.
And what approaches have yielded the best results in terms of acquiring new clients for Yivera? And on the flip side of that, what approaches haven't worked for you?
Okay, so for us, what has worked very well for us is a strategy that we implemented based on the previous businesses we were into. And what we noticed is that influencing in the music business, trust is a currency. Yeah, trust is a currency. And because of that, we see that if we have an influencer, someone who is a stakeholder in the industry, and we are able to have them believe in what we're doing, they are able to talk to a larger number of people, larger audience. Let me give you an example. When an artist releases music, the first person they talk to is a promoter or a blogger, a music blogger, most times, right? So these are the two key people for an artist: the producer who made the music, and the promoter or the marketer who is going to distribute it before now. So what we have done is to have these key people as bring as stakeholders in our operation. So what we have done is to speak with them, show them what we're doing, convince them. So basically, word of mouth has really converted for us more than traditional, advertising, right? Traditional word of mouth has worked a lot for us. People who know us have done more for us than that. But another strategy that worked for us is just good content creation on social media and search engine optimization. So what we have done is to make sure that I'm seeing something on the screen. So what we have done is to make sure that our website is very optimized and indexed in all the search engines, so that even if when people search about what we do, we come up on top. This is a strategy we learned when we were running a news platform. So we brought that strategy into this business when we got in, and our Vietnam market opened up through that medium. When you search for music distribution or free music distribution in Vietnam, our site comes up in the first page, probably the first or the second. So we saw lots of Vietnamese artists start using our platform just because Google presented our website at the top of the list when they searched. So these are some of the strategies that has really, worked for us.
So referrals, partnerships, and marketing seems to be yielding some good returns for you. Any channels that aren't, that could maybe use a little bit of a boost?
So for again, we've not really tried any other strategies before, outside what we're already doing, because we know what we're doing is working. But some of our marketing team was trying to suggest we do like billboard adverts and all. I told them I'm pretty sure that it won't work. Again, because I think that traditional advertising is dying, as far as I'm concerned. And I think that social media and digital media, specifically social media and social media and advertising online, I think is a quick and easy way to be able to get to your clients, get to your customers, tell them what you want to tell them, and convince them to do business with you. So we've not really tried any other, mediums to see, okay, will it work or not work? So yeah, so I can't really speak about those ones.
Again, if we cast our eyes internally at the team within Yivera, what does the team structure look like today, and how do you balance local expertise with global scale?
Okay, so the team is a bit diverse. It's diverse because one of the things we pride ourselves at Yivera is to diversify the team to make sure that everywhere we are seeing traction, we look for an affiliate there or someone there who understands the market and try to bring them into the team. So, for example, when we started seeing an inflow of artists from India, we immediately started looking for an affiliate, a partner in India that we can work with. So when we started seeing in Turkey, same thing. So, but the core of the team are living in Africa, and but what we have done is on the business front, every time we see that we are getting a lot of traction from a particular part of the world, we try to find someone there and bring them into the team. So that has given us a fairly diverse team that represents our operation as at now. Yeah. So I think that is what we have done, so far.
And if you look back at the last year at Yivera, what are you the most proud of internally?
I think is the way we have delivered on our goals. We gave ourselves at the beginning of in fact, in the past 2 years, we gave ourselves a goal and we met that goal. And it's also just the cohesion, how we're able to, and again, we are mostly working remotely, but we have been able to keep a leash on our agenda, our growth, and that has really helped us to be able to deliver across. Because one thing I learned working like this is that when you give people what their goals and their target are, you don't need to micromanage them because they know that they need to report every week to say, this is what I've done, this is what I've not done. So, if you didn't do your job and then you show up in the meeting, everybody knows you didn't do it. So it's left for you. It's obvious to everybody that you didn't do it because we know what we said we were going to achieve, and you have shown up in the meeting and then you are not saying the things we want you to say. So you will know. So I think is the way we have delivered on our goals. I think between last year and this year, we 10x, what we did last year, we 10x it this year. So I'm super proud of that. And then we're already planning for the next 1 year and, putting our goals and our plans in place. We're also, again, because we're also growing, steadily, and that is having us to also begin to re-strategize again on the new markets we want to go into and how we're going to get there. So I think for me, yeah, those are the things that really, made our growth so far interesting.
Yeah, I mean, 10xing is something certainly worth being proud of. Conversely, though, what is a persistent frustration or constraint that you still face?
Scaling can be challenging in a market that has, huge corporations who are also operating there. Again, because of how um, technology is growing, people can, it's a problem can come up and people can begin to find solutions. And then before you know it, there are multiple people who are providing that solution. So scaling can be a challenge. But again, we are taking it, what we believe is that the way we would deliver what we are delivering, no one else can do it like we would do it for the clients that we're doing it for and for our target market. So for us, what we have done is to not zero in on the market that we want to get into because we know the markets that the majors and the big guys are not looking at. So we're looking at those markets. Again, because of how interconnected the world is right now, I can do my research about a particular market and begin to target that market and go into that market even before a bigger organization comes in. Maybe because we are small, we're able to be more laser focused on what our goals are. So for me, those are the things that has worked, for us so far.
And how do you see the competitive landscape of music distribution evolving both in Africa and globally?
It's going to be super competitive because, again, as technology becomes easier, people who have a vision or find how to get into an industry. But I also feel that the earlier you come in, the better. And then, just like every other business, you have to keep innovating, keep iterating, keep looking out for what the next big solution is, and getting there before anybody else gets in. Right now, it's a very capital intense. It's a growing market. It's no, that's not the word. It involves a lot of cash, a lot of money right now, because where the music industry right now is that we have, because of how successful the music business has been in the past couple of years, we now have financing companies who are coming to finance, artists. So they come in and say, oh, we're going to pay you XYZ amount of money upfront, and then we're going to own a share of your music. So everything you earn, we're going to recoup our money from that. So we've seen a lot of innovations, basically, new players coming in and trying to take a different aspect of the business and try to bring in. So we've seen all of that happening. But for us at Yivera, we will keep innovating again and giving value to our users, because what we want to do is to make sure that everybody who is distributing music with us as an artist is getting value. And that value is that at the end of the month, that they are seeing their revenues across the different aspects of their music that they are supposed to collect revenue from. One thing we're also doing is educating, telling our artists what they need to know at every point in time. So we're doing a lot of content, educating them on what they should do and how they should, and how they would do better, how they'll be able to operate their music business better.
And as the co-founder and executive director, how has your leadership style evolved since you founded Yivera?
Well, the thing is, before I started Yivera, I had run a business before. I run a business before, and during that time, I learned a lot. I learned so much about what to do and what not to do. So when I was coming into Yivera, I already crafted what the leadership style would look like and what the even work style would look like. Because the beautiful thing about innovation is that you are learning as you're going. So as you're going, you're learning. As you're operating, you're learning. So for me, my leadership style had changed a lot from where it used to be to where it is now. And one thing I've learned is that your job as co-founder and CEO goes from doing the job to finding people who will do the job. So basically, you go from being the person who is operationally doing the job to finding talent and grooming talent, teaching them, teach them and give them an opportunity to express themselves, to show themselves. So, and that is one thing I have learned. Of course, I try and read, the story of lots of other, CEOs and established business owners, and I learn from how they operate. So one thing that has changed for me is just understanding that I can't be the person doing the work all the time. I have to trust people enough to give them an opportunity to express themselves. And that when people know that you can trust them with responsibility, they begin to take responsibility. And what you begin to see is that they begin to take initiative. So you don't have to micromanage them all the time. They know that they have to deliver. Because they believe that you've trusted them with that, and then they're going to be able to do that. The second thing I've also learned is that it's not always about the most intelligent or experienced person. It's about the person who is more faithful and committed in the plan of the long-term goal of the company, right? Most founders and CEOs, when they want to employ, they're looking for the most experienced person or the most skilled person. Those are great, right? But the problem with that is if you employ someone who has like a stellar, experience and all, there's a high probability that when they find the next great opportunity, they will leave your company and go. But what you're looking for as a founder is long-term people who believe in what you're doing and they want to stay for long. So sometimes what you want is not really, oh, the most skilled person or the most intelligent person or the most qualified. What you're looking for is the person who loves what you're doing and wants to stay. Because as long as they are passionate and interested, they might not be the best skilled person. They can get the skill. They can acquire the skill on the job, you know, and they will appreciate you better for giving them a chance to stay and learn and become better. So the probability for them staying longer in your company is going to be more than the person who has lots of experience and very skilled, and then you employ them because they are the best skilled person. But the problem is that when they find the next opportunity, someone who can pay them better or give them better, they leave you and go. So these are the little things you learn from working with people.
If we gaze into the crystal ball and you look into the future, where do you want to see Yivera in the next 12 to 24 months?
First of all, I'd like us to increase our user base, maybe 10x it again, our user base, and of course with that also our revenue. Um, but most importantly is just to really go global in the way we want to go global. Again, I'm big on innovating in technology. Right now, AI is becoming the buzzword and becoming the technology that will redefine the future. So one of the things that we already started having conversations within the technical and dev team is how we can begin to, what role would AI play in the music industry from an operational point of view? AI is already playing a role in the music making aspect. So right now you can go online and go to a website and put your lyrics, and AI will sing the song, make the melody, make the sound, and get it out. And it's already happening. But from an operational point of view, from a revenue recouping point of view, from publishing, content identification. So what role would AI play in those places? So those are the places that we are already thinking in that direction and thinking, how we can be able to implement solutions that will be powered by artificial intelligence that will help to make the work a lot easier for people. So those are the things we're looking at, and a few iterations and innovations that we are also planning. But we're looking to scale, we're looking to improve, increase, our turnovers, and then also looking to increase our catalog.
And if we continue to look into that crystal ball, but we cast our attention onto the industry,
Yeah.
how do you see the independent music ecosystem in Africa evolving over the next 5 to 10 years, even?
I'm going to discuss that from various aspects. First of all, is right now in the media space, because again, music and media kind of like go hand in hand, right? So in the media space, we're seeing a lot of streaming happening, a lot of live streaming happening. So we see Twitch, we see TikTok going full blown on having people stream. And social media has become a big deal. We are having more people come online, even though internet penetration is still not there for most African nations. Internet is still expensive, because the truth is that the the way music is consumed right now is over the internet. Nobody is, very few people are talking, and nobody's talking about CDs anymore, or hardware, plays. Nobody's talking about that anymore. So the way music is consumed is over the internet. Even though I'm worried that because of how easy it is to make music now, I'm worried about the quality and the shelf life of music. That is something I'm genuinely worried about. The shelf life of music And the quality, I think quality, there won't be a problem with quality. Is the shelf life. How long will the music be a hit? How long would it last in the market before it dies down? Because the journey of music is it comes in, becomes a hit, goes up, hits a mark, and then it begins to go down. Then some really great music can come, the graph will go up, get to a tip, and then come down, and then maybe plateau at a particular point, and then just keep going there. But some will just go and go down, one hit wonders. They just go up, go down, and that is it. You will never hear about them again. So, those are some of the challenges.
For the benefit of our viewers, if they wanted to get in contact with Yivera, where would be the best place for them to reach out?
Okay, we are online. Our website is yivera.com, yivera.com. Social media is at Yivera Distro on all social platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're there, and this is pretty much how we can be reached. If you literally Google Yivera, I think the search engine would inundate you with all sorts of ways to reach us, basically. Yeah.
Well, Martin, I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been absolutely fascinating to hear a little bit more about your Vera, but also about the industry in general. It sounds like you're making some really nice waves and that you're making the right type of moves. And I wish you all the best with your future endeavors. I hope that the crystal ball vision that you've just explained becomes reality and that you continue to 10x every year. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lawrence. I appreciate the conversation.
Thanks, everyone.